Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in today. And I got Mason here, past client of ours. Mason, how you doing?
Good, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course, dude. So today, Mason, I kind of want to just run a little bit through the process that we went with you because obviously, came to us for a funding round. You came to us for real estate purposes. I want to talk a little bit about that. And overall, we had some pretty cool success with you, and we had quite a journey. So just want to dive in and make sure that as people are watching this, they can kind of get an understanding of what our process looks like, what funds can be used for, and how you're using them, as well as just what that journey can look like, right? And hear a client experience from an actual client of ours. So that all being said, um, it was a while ago when you and I first connected. Do you mind just kind of riffing a little bit and honestly jogging my memory on how we connected and like what initially brought you to our company?
Okay, yes. So me and my wife had bought a investment property that we were going to remodel and obviously turn into a little duplex. Um, but what happened was funds kind of ran out. I was at a point where I needed a lot of money and I didn't know how I was going to get it. I talked to my cousin Doug, who's also into real estate, who knows a lot about a lot. Any question I have, I talk to him. And I was telling him I was in the situation. I'm like, hey, man, listen, I'm at a point where my funds ran out and I have no idea how I'm going to get the money to finish this. And then that's when he told me he knew who you were and gave me your number and we connected. And from there, man, it's been great.
Dude, that's crazy because actually, I actually couldn't like really remember the initial reason. I just knew we were helping you get funds. I mean, so far into it, but I didn't realize that you were actually running out of funds when you
Yeah.
found us. And was that due to the renovation, or was that because of like some other external circumstance?
Well, this being our first investment property, we just did it incorrectly. Just the whole process, it's our
Yeah.
first time. We learned a lot. Um, I, I say it's a very expensive lesson, as far as for us and what we've learned throughout this whole process and everything. We just didn't use the money correctly, and I tried to do a lot of remodeling myself, which took me way too long. I thought I was going to save a bunch of money that way, but it turns out while I'm paying a mortgage, I'm trying to remodel and there's no money coming in.
Yeah.
So that whole process just took way too long and we ended up just running out of money. And then yeah, that's when I was talking to my cousin and he brought me to you.
Yeah, you got to make ends meet. I hear you. I
Yeah.
hear you. My dad calls that investor's tuition, where it's like your first one or two times investing. You go to college and you pay like maybe 100K in tuition. Well, there's a tuition with being an investor or an entrepreneur as well. You're either paying for like education through like courses and mentorships, or you're just straight up like screwing things up and like just making, financial mistakes and learning things the hard way, or whatever that situation is. You got to flush a little bit out to course correct and find the right decisions, right? So
Exactly.
I've definitely been through the ringer, and as someone who's good at getting the bank's money, it's allowed me to make a lot of investments, and yeah. Yeah, I hear you. So yeah, when we found each other, I was reviewing your credit report, and that's something that we do for every client that we work with, right? We want to kind of look at your overall profile and determine, is this person fundable to the banks? And that's where we start. And that's 80% of the battle. Okay. So for what I remember with you, we had to do a little bit of what we call optimization, which is like, okay, we see certain pieces of your credit report, and we want to basically do like almost coaching on how to strengthen the foundational levels of your credit, your business, right? That's something that we helped you with as well, was setting up the LLC. Because I remember that was quite a journey with you, and that took a couple months, but it set you up for like complete success when it came to your funding round. So,
Oh yeah.
if you want to just talk a little bit about that too, that'd be great because that was super important for us.
Okay, yes. So with the remodel that I was doing with the guy, I ended up getting about 20 to $25,000 more in a debt, getting some credit cards, whatnot, to help remodel the upstairs that we were doing. And I didn't really realize how important credit was and everything that goes into it until we started working on the optimization. But yeah, so I was about $25,000 into debt. Then when I talked to you, with the inquiries and just the utilization to bring that down and everything, we talked about a few different strategies. Luckily, I was able to borrow the money from my grandma to pay my utilization down to where that's one of the main things they look at your credit report is your utilization. So I was able to get the money to bring that down. I also worked with another one of your guys to help get some inquiries off.
Right.
Um, and just I mean that whole thing was, I mean, it was nervous for me. I was nervous because like I didn't know if this was all gonna work. And the fact that I needed this to work, um, it turned out good, man. I'm glad we were able to connect and get with each other. And I mean, you pretty much saved this whole financial burden that was about to happen with me because I didn't know how things were gonna, I didn't know what to expect. And just this, I wasn't financially prepared for this like I thought I was.
Yeah.
And so yeah, working with the credit and everything. I mean, you guys really saved me on that one.
Oh, come on, man. You're gonna make me cry over here. But thank you. I really appreciate the kind words. Actually, that's super nice to hear. And that's a big reason why we do it. I mean, Sophia and I, like, we like what we do, and we consider ourselves at least very good at it.
You guys are really
And
good at what you guys do, I'll tell you
thank you.
that.
Yeah, but honestly, like when we can move someone from a position, like with you, I mean, we saw your credit score within like a 30-day period just shoot above 800. Like it was crazy. And then once we had that green light, we were like, all right, we're just gonna run these apps. Um, and we got
Yeah,
a
because my credit score, I think, was at like a 640 when we got together and started working on it and started doing, going through the steps, everything we needed to do to, make my credit report stronger. And yeah, once it got to that point where I was good, it, went from 640 in a
yeah,
couple of months to over 800.
yeah. Yeah, no, it was crazy. It was super nice to see that. I remember talking to you on the phone and we were both just like hyped about it because I knew you had a strong credit report. There was just a few things and it was the utilization really that was like screwing you at the time. But
Yeah.
I remember even like talking to Doug, and Sophia, I was like, man, this guy is doing like everything in his power to like turn that situation around. And like when people are taking matters into their own hands, especially with utilization, because that's a really tough one. Like that's a hurdle. I already know that like this person's going to be a really successful client because you're being like coachable, like you're listening, you're taking action on your own even. So with you, I knew it was only like going to be a matter of time before we can kind of make those ends meet. So I'm just gonna let you kind of tell it. How much funding did we get you and how did that go?
Well, you guys got me and my wife 100K with just one bank. Uh, I mean, I mean, like I said, when we first started this, like I was in a panic. I just didn't know how things were gonna go. And once we first started talking, how you just broke everything down to me, it almost seemed kind of like too good to be true. I'm just like, so all I got to do is just this, and this, and then I'll be able to get this. And you're just like, yeah, I mean, and you made it really easy. I mean, you guys, you laid out all the steps. The communication was great. I mean, it was easy to communicate. Um, I mean, just the whole process was actually really simple. A lot easier than what I thought it was going to be. And so just going through everything. It was like I said, it was a little nervous at first, but once we started doing it and I started seeing the progression of everything, I'm just like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, like this is gonna work,
Yeah.
And then once we got to that end point and got my utilization down, got my credit report looking good, I mean, it was just a matter of time before the banks, it was a no brainer for them to lend us the money.
I think once we can get clients like that first big card and they see that, they're like, all right, like cool. You
Yeah,
know?
like well,
But
well it's like this is real. It's not like
yeah,
just
yeah.
you hear about all these things all the time, but you don't really know anybody that does it, or at least I don't, until I talked to my cousin Doug and he told me about it, and I was just like, all right, I'll give it a try and see if this is real, and
Yeah.
it's very real.
Yeah, awesome. So I'll say it again just to make sure everybody who watches this hears this. Yeah, we did 100K at a single bank, and so that was pretty cool because 100K is a lot of funding, and it was at 0% interest, no documents, no bank statements, no tax returns. And one thing I should definitely add as well is we actually helped you and instructed you on setting up that LLC to begin with as well. So we gave you kind of very specific instructions with setting up your business that you followed. It was literally a new business. It was like what, like 30, 60 days old or something at the time. And
Oh, there you go. There you are.
did I freeze up for a sec?
Yeah, you're good though.
Yep, we're all good. But yeah, the business was only like 30, 60 days old at the time, and we were still able to knock out 100K at 0%. So it was a super successful round, all in all. Um, but yeah, let's talk a little bit about where you're at now. Have you been using the funding? And if you have, like, what has that been going into? Just remodeling? I think you were working on like a garage. How's it all going?
Process is going really well. As soon as we got the cards, we immediately used them to put our down payment with our contractors for our full remodel on the basement, which was turning into a 2 bedroom, 1 bath with a kitchen. It's been probably, I think, about 3, 4 weeks since that's happened, and I mean progress has been going good. There's been a lot of work that's being done. We were just waiting on the cards to be able to start the process. So yeah, I mean, we were very excited once we were able to get those cards and
Yeah.
get everything going on our remodel downstairs.
Awesome. Awesome. Hey, side note, you're super blurry, but I can hear you perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah, you're all good. But awesome. And then cool. So that sounds great. It sounds like yeah, you got everything that you're looking for. I mean, what's next
Oh man,
then after this?
it's yeah, it's been a blessing, man. Like I said, we were in a state of panic. I wasn't telling my wife these things, because I don't want her to panic at the time. But it was just, you guys really came through, and I mean, I can't express enough how just thankful and grateful I am that we were able to connect and you guys were able to help us through this whole process, set up our business, pretty much lay out the map for us to get to where we needed to get. And it was a very simple process.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
thank you for that.
Well, yeah, no, thank you for coming on today. And it was a pleasure working with you. You were honestly like an excellent client success story for us from start to finish. Like I said, you were coachable. We kind of worked you through the process of both credit and business. So like both sides of the coin for optimization. And then the funding round was almost a little too easy. So everything worked out perfectly. And you are where you are now. So I'm glad that we could help you out, man. But you know where to find us. Just hit my line
Yep.
and yeah, that'll be it. But anyway, Mason, pleasure connecting with you today. Thanks for coming on and I'll see you around, man.
All right. Thank you, Xavier. Have a good one.
You too.